Peter Hill Beard, January 22, 1938, March/April 2020, was an American artist, photographer, diarist, and writer who lived and worked in New York City, Montauk, and Kenya. His photographs of Africa, African animals and the journals that often integrated his photographs, have been widely shown and published since the 1960s. 1. Peter Beard was born in 1938 as a New York heir to a railroad fortune on his mother's side of the family and a tobacco inheritance on his father's. 2. He was raised in New York City, Alabama, and Islip, Long Island. Beard began keeping diaries as a young boy and making photographs, as an extension of the diaries, at the age of 12. 3. A graduate of Pomfret School, he entered Yale University in 1957, with the intention of pursuing pre-med studies, only to switch his major to art history. At Yale, he was tapped into the secret society Scroll and Key. His mentors at Yale included Joseph Albers, Richard Lindner, and Vincent Scully. Beard graduated with an A.B. in 1961. Inspired by earlier trips to Africa in both 1955 and 1960, Beard traveled to Kenya upon graduation. Working at Tsavo National Park, he photographed and documented the demise of 35,000 elephants and other wildlife, later to become the subject of his first book, The End of the Game. 4. During this time, Beard acquired Hog Ranch, a property near the Ngong Hills adjacent to the coffee farm owned by Karen Blixen, pen name Isak Dinesen, which would become his lifelong home base in East Africa. 3. Beard's photographs of Africa, African animals and journals that often integrate his photographs have been widely shown and published since the 1970s. Each of his works is unique, a combination of his photography with elements derived from his daily diary keeping, a practice he continued until his death in 2020. These volumes contain newspaper clippings, dried leaves, insects, old sepia-toned photos, transcribed telephone messages, marginalia and India ink, photographs of women, quotes, found objects, and the like. These become incorporated, with original drawings and collage by Beard. Certain of his works incorporate animal blood, sometimes Beard's own blood, in sparing quantities, a painting medium the artist favored. 5. He was a photographer for magazines including Vogue and Elle. 6. The Peter Beard Studio and Archive was started by Peter and Nejma Beard, and is the primary source for artwork by Peter Beard. The archive maintains a repository of published and unpublished written and visual material relating to the artist's life, work, projects, travels, exhibitions, and relations with his cohort. 1. Beard's first exhibition was at the Bloom-Hellman Gallery, New York City, in 1975. Landmark museum exhibitions have been held at the International Center of Photography, New York City, in 1977, and the Centre National de la Photographie, Paris, in 1997. Gallery exhibitions followed in Berlin, London, Toronto, Madrid, Milan, Tokyo, and Vienna. Beard's work is included in private collections throughout the world. 3. In 2017, Beard was sued by actor David Spade, who purchased one of his works. Spade tried to resell a Peter Beard photograph that he had purchased from dealer Peter Tunney, but the unsigned work could not be authenticated. 7. Descended from distinguished American families on both sides, Beard was one of 3 sons born to Roseanne Hoare Beard and Anson McCook Beard Jr. A great-grandfather, James Jerome Hill, was founder of the Great Northern Railway in the United States in the late 19th/early 20th centuries. Having made his fortune in the railroad business, James Jerome Hill was a great patron of the arts. All of his heirs were exposed to and owned great collections, presumably having a strong influence on Beard's interests in the arts and beauty. As for marriage, Beard found the state to be constricting. The institution of marriage should be re-examined because of its overwhelming claustrophobia. The odds are stacked against spontaneity and effervescence. It's an institution that was brought about for the sake of family and children, but biologically it's very unnatural. It's masochism and torture the way it's been organized. 8. He nonetheless married 3 times, his wives being. In 1996, he was charged by an elephant and gored in the right leg. After arriving at the hospital without a pulse, he was revived, and survived. 1617. Beard befriended and in some cases collaborated with many artists, including Andy Warhol, Andrew Wyeth, Francis Bacon, Karen Blixen, Truman Capote, Richard Lindner, and Salvador Dalí. He also photographed many other well-known people. 3. He appeared in Adolphus Mackes's film, Hallelujah the Hills, in 1963, at the first New York Film Festival. 6. On the afternoon of March 31, 2020, Beard, who was suffering from dementia and ill health after a stroke, wandered away from his Montauk, Long Island home. Despite exhaustive searches, he was not found. 18.